All right, you're welcome to another beautiful edition of the Locker Room on Voice of the People TV. I am Jerry Arpelionhai, and it promises to be exciting this lovely afternoon as we take a look at matters arising as far as the football world is concerned. I'm not alone doing this. I have Ikechukwu makes a return with me in the studio this day, and we also have Mayowa joining us virtually. And of course, I know he has been busy with Fabrizio Romano and the Manchester United board trying to see what will happen. But it's sorry to say that it's only cobwebs that are in the transfer room. The transfer room talk for Manchester United. But come to where it's busy. Keke is already done and dusted. And of course, a striker is in the works, and as well as a defender. Ikechukwu, I understand how it feels to be a United fan at this time of the year. You know, it's going to be a long, winter has not yet come for Manchester United. It's like winter is never going to come for you.
Well, Jerry, good evening. Good evening to our viewers. I've told you I'm an Enyimba fan, so whatever it is you want to say, you say it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to join issues with you as regards the English Premier League, Manchester United and Liverpool. It's none of my business. It's so good to talk football today once again, Jerry. And this is exactly where I'm going to leave it.
All right, anyway, I will not say they will accept you back like the prodigal son, because your case is going to be worse than that. Because I know everybody likes...
I've always been an Enyimba fan.
Everybody likes to identify
I've always been an Enyimba fan. Enyimba didn't win the league last season. But I'm a proud... That's what I'm saying. So it's not like I'm saying I'm an Enyimba fan because... Wait, now, it's not like I'm saying I'm an Enyimba fan because Enyimba won something last season. No!
I will not allow you to come on this platform and start to deflate.
Deflate how? I'm an Enyimba fan. I've always been an Enyimba fan.
We don't accept those kind of double standard here. Please. This is a platform that builds on integrity.
No problem.
Please don't.
I'm proud of
don't go on with disguising. Don't go on with disguising. This is not a platform you'll be disguising because things are no longer working for you. But anyway, hopefully Mayowa gets to join us. But let's start off from the home front, where it looks like Chidera Ejuke, the Nigerian international, has drawn the eye of La Liga side Sevilla after he was seen in a viral video playing street football in Nigeria, where he is presently on holiday. Ejuke has taken part in games in the city of Kaduna, where he grew up, giving locals who knew him in his formative years the chance of seeing him play live after his debut season in the Spanish top flight. He didn't have the best of seasons with injuries and fitness issues, limiting him to just 25 games with just 2 goals and 1 assist. Back home, he has been using the opportunity to once again put himself in top shape before the resumption of pre-season training by playing street football. And that move appears to have angered the hierarchy of Sevilla, according to reports emanating from Spain, leading the club to take a decision on letting him leave in the summer transfer window in the event that a suitable offer arrives. And Ejuke's current behavior, engaging in carefree, unsupervised matches during the holidays, is being interpreted by the club insiders as a reflection of the same impulsiveness and lack of discipline that marked his inconsistent debut season in Spain. And according to reports, stated that on the winger who joined the team on the free transfer last summer. Do you think that the Sevilla board is taking this too far? It's just like when you have a principal that is too hard on you. That's what I just see here. When you have a principal that is too hard on you, who picks on you, who feels irritated by you because of one mistake or the other, anything you do become irritating. They take it too far. But when it's the most preferred student that does it, they look the other way.
It depends on how we choose to look at it. Sevilla has actually spent a lot on Ejuke as regards his injury. When a player gets injured, it's on the club. Whatever happens to you, it's on the club. And for a player who is consistently shown that he's injury prone, you look at the statistics you just read out. Two goals and of course little assists in 25 games, and he's really struggling. An integral part of a team that keeps struggling with injury. Naturally, the club will want to let you go, and then now you are now giving them reasons to actually let you go. For a player who, the club has really spent a lot, to keep him fit, and then he goes to play street football, eventually gets injured again, it's on the club. So all of these things, the club will definitely look at, even when you decide to actually come back home and not play, the club will always, put you up for sale, because they know that you are already a liability because of the number of injuries you suffer all through season. If players like Lucio were to be, a non-English player, United would have actually cut him loose, a long time ago. I'll tell you something, right? The way businessmen actually view commodities, they view commodities from two lenses. They look at you from a place of, you being an anchor, or they look at you from a place of you being a propeller. Now, for a player who consistently, suffer injury, you're definitely going to be putting the club on hold, and you definitely, no serious businessman will want to put himself in a position where they cannot actually move, they cannot take a decisive decision, either to actually bring in somebody, because they know, they don't really have the budget to actually bring a player of a quality or a player that is better than you. So now they'll be left with actually keeping you on the bench and in the hospital. Like you always call Luke Shaw. You said he's turned a medical doctor. Now you have a player like that in your team who suffers injury consistently, and then you see him playing. Come on, it's a lot for the club. So this is why I actually want to look at the club reason for actually trying to cut him loose. But on the part of Chidera Ejuke, you've not given a standard performance. Now, for a player who is there to give a standard performance as a key player of a team, if a player like, say, for example, Sergio Ramos, when he just joined Sevilla that season, do stuff like this, or say, Simmon, does something like this as a player of Galatasaray, they want to look away, because you've proven that, yes, you're a valuable asset no matter what happens. Even if they are angry, they will not come out in the media. They will have this conversation with you behind a closed door. But for a player who has not really shown that, you are really important, you don't have to actually put yourself in a situation like this. And that's exactly why I look at, his attitude as, a player who lacks, interpersonal emotion.
Other players who, like your Cunha, the recently signed Cunha, play street football in Brazil, and we didn't see Manchester United saying that.
Now the question is, Cunha had a very fantastic season before United signed him. Cunha is not.
So you can do it and get it.
What I'm saying is, Cunha had a good season before he signed up for Manchester United. He's not shown to be an injury-prone player. So yes, it's not a liability at this point, right, for the club.
Okay, I think that's perspective.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, because he suffered a lot of injuries. So they are expecting him to actually keep the body.
Keep it safe.
Because they spend a lot on you to actually get fit, so you don't have to do all of these things.
Yeah, I think that's another way to look at it. My one, he just reminded us of Luke Shaw's situation, and that brings me to a conversation I once had with someone. It was a banter in a way. We're talking about Luke Shaw, that Luke Shaw is so good with injuries that each time a player gets injured on the pitch, they ask him what kind of injury is that. He normally knows the names of all the different types of injuries because he has gone through all of them. So he's an expert. So when the player gets injured, you say, Luke Shaw, before I go and see the doctor, what do you think I have? You say, this is cruciate ligament. So you're going to last for 6 months. You start crying before you even see the doctor because he's an expert with injuries. But my one, taking a look at Chidera Ejuke's situation, do you think that this is more like beating the child with a sledgehammer?
Well, yeah, the thing is, I think Sevilla is very right. This is a player that is injury prone. Injury stopped him from playing regularly for Sevilla. They've spent a whole lot in terms of rehabilitation, and street football, there is no rule guiding how you play street football. There are a whole lot of bad tackle flying. You can get injured. You can even aggravate. And remember, anytime you are coming back from injury, it takes you a bit of time before you are fully recovered, even though the injury has healed up and you can start playing football. They don't even rush you back, to start playing full matches. They give you some time. They ease you into games. Season just ended. Ejuke, in his own wisdom, decided that huge investment. I'll actually be mad. It shows that, he doesn't really care about the club. If a club is taking care of you, you too, in turn, you have to take care of yourself. Ejuke did not do well at this particular time. And if you want to make a case for, other players that do it are not injury prone. A typical example would be Luke Shaw, who is a medical doctor. because of the number of injuries he has, because of the number of years accumulated, he has gone on injury. If at that particular time that Luke Shaw was out for over 7 months or 8 months, he decided to go and start playing street football, I'm 100% sure the staff at Manchester United will be really, really mad because they are spending a whole lot on him to get him back to full fitness while he's going to put himself in a situation where the injury can, be aggravated again, and he will get injured again and he'll be out just collecting salary and not doing anything. So for me, I think Sevilla is right. I hope Eduke and Sevilla they come to a reasonable agreement and resolve this issue. But Eduke did not act very right, and it reflects poorly on him. We keep saying it. Who are those that manage our player? If he has a proper team that manage him, they would have told him that you can't do this. It will put you in bad light with Sevilla, and that's what we have at the moment.
Yeah, taking a look at Chidera Ejuka's situation, I think even if he's injury prone, if he's a certain Neymar, for instance, I think the club side wouldn't be making such threats. And the fact that, with all due respect, Chidera Ejuka did not even play that friendly with his bare legs. At least he still wore some things, and of course that video will come up soon so that we'll understand what.
I don't understand what you mean by with his bare legs.
But because they're making it look like as if he didn't wear he didn't wear boots.
Jerry, no.
He played with
all the players that have been getting injury on the pitch. Yeah, haven't they been putting on boots?
So the thing is that at least they will understand that this is Chidera Ejuka. The people who are playing with him will give him that much benefit of that, not to take him back to the hospital.
What if, we've seen players get injured without contact. What if just, a short sprint, he pulled a muscle or he sprained his ankle? It can happen. Players, you don't have to get contact before you get injured on the pitch. So this is not even a case of whether they want to tackle him or not. This is a case of you stepping into the ring at first. You don't have to do that. For me, right, Eduke, like Maiwa said, who are the guys managing this guy? Eduke lack, awareness of his person.
I think I understand why even the club is even angry, because he was trying to make a dribble, and the opponent didn't even care whether this is Chidera Ejuka. He almost sent him back to the hospital.
Okay, you see.
And I think if I'm the owner of the club side, I think Chidera Ejuka will be having some sticks here right now. I'm really looking.
If I spent millions of pounds on you and you are doing this, also remember the street football is not the normal tough. Sometimes when player play, when some players play on synthetic turf, they always complain. They always complain that they always complain that synthetic turf gets them injured. Now look at it, going to play on a sandy pitch, and you and I'm 100% sure each and every one of us has played street football before. We know how it is. We know how the terrain is. Even running alone, you can even fall down and you injure yourself badly. So why is he putting himself in that kind of situation at the expense of those that have
I hope you saw that,
invested millions in you to bring you back to full fitness, yet you want to start playing here? It doesn't make any logical sense. I think they have to give him more stick, and I hope, and that's why we say it. Our players, they need to invest in people that will manage them properly. If we have a proper manager, I don't think this will happen. Your management team would have told you you can't do this, and it will go away helping them.
Was he actually tripped or he tripped
Yeah, I saw
himself?
it. I saw
himself.
it. I mean, even
That's
even
exactly what I was saying.
myself, I'm not one paying his salary.
I mean,
I'm even afraid for him. I'm even afraid for Sevilla. Now he will go back to Sevilla and
look at
start
how he moved the leg.
confirming
Yeah,
that
and
he's
of course,
injured,
even
and they will
the
start paying him
discomfort
money
Yes,
without
he
exactly.
felt
working.
after, yeah.
Educate acted poorly, and I think Sevilla they are in
I think
every
we're even
right.
talking about
They
we're not
have
even
every
helping his
right
case because
to be
even
angry and to even want him out of the club, because I mean it doesn't make any sense when you are spending money, when you are making an investment, and you are not.
yeah, definitely a difficult situation for Chidera Ejuke, and the fact that even part of his management, that thing would not even be online. Every camera is going to be on.
How are you going to? This is just an amateur footage. How are you going to be certain that? Okay, you will tell people.
If I can't control
You
his
will tell
footage,
people.
he won't play
Exactly,
that.
that's
He
the
won't
only thing you
play
can do. You
it. He won't
cannot tell
play it.
people not to camera Ejuke is a star. He came to his
He won't play it because even the sensitivity of the pitch, then maybe he's just trying to relive back in the days he used to play at that same place. But he should understand the situation and understand the dangers to himself and even his contract with the situation. Anyway, they cannot terminate his contract based on this. They can only say he's now up for sale.
That's exactly
And it's
what
not
they
that
say.
Chidera Ejuke is a bad player. If they are putting him up for sale, other clubs will still come.
Definitely.
At least Manchester United is looking for a winger, and Garnacho is leaving. Chidera Ejuke will sure be a good option. Maiwa, I don't know, maybe you can call Ruben Amorim to start considering Chidera Ejuke. Okay, he has come to call Ruben Amorim. So when he finishes with that call, I'll definitely want to have him back and tell us what Ruben Amorim thinks. Anyway, former Italy under 21 star and Napoli forward Antonio Flores has criticized the Nigerian striker Victor Simmon, labeling him a mediocre footballer during an interview with Kiss Napoli. And Flores expressed frustration over Osimhen's perceived lack of loyalty to Napoli and the club that brought him into the spotlight, particularly after Osimhen removed Napoli-related content from his Instagram profile. And Flores argued that Osimhen only had one standout season and lacks the qualities of a true champion. He even suggested the striker should move to Saudi Arabia, claiming he does not possess the elite caliber of players like Kevin De Bruyne. Flores questioned Osimhen's decision to leave Napoli, noting that the city played a vital role in shaping his career. I think Flores, with all due respect, I understand your sentiments. Maybe he's a Napoleon and so on and so forth. But to say that he's not a champion, he does not have the caliber, I think that is outright disrespect. And if for Flores as a footballer, with the way Napoli treated him, if he was treated the same way, would he still be happy at the club side? I think this is hypocrisy at the highest level.
Well, you know, Osimhen's recent ordeal has given room to everybody to say things about him.
Which is wrong.
Right. And at this point, right, you will really not even blame people because again,
let's deal with these issues.
That's
Flores
what I'm saying.
himself.
Yes, exactly what I'm saying. Again, if you look at Osimhen's career, let's be very honest with ourselves. Osimhen has not had 3 fantastic seasons stretch.
No, he's saying that he's a one-season.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is totally wrong.
We are coming there.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you look at Moses Simon, for example, Moses Simon in France has given consistently, a good season at this level.
How do you say 3 seasons stretch?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. He had 2 seasons at Lille before he made the move.
Lille.
And the 2
Not at the
seasons
top level.
Lille, what level was Lille?
Exactly my point. Now, the level he played at Lille was almost the same level Moses Simon is playing in France. And Moses Simon has been playing at that level for a long time.
I think Lille is a better placed club than Nantes in the French league. At least Lille was playing Champions European football, and Nantes, I don't know whether they've ever played.
As at the time Victor Simmon moved from Lille, it was barely unknown.
No, at least it was still known. That's why Napoli paid such huge amounts to get him to Lille.
We've seen players that are, let's use the word rising star, right? I think that's a better word to use.
But we agree that he paid a lot of money to get him to Napoli.
Yeah, of course. We've seen players who haven't even done what Osimhen did, and they bought them with big money. So it depends on the negotiation, how it actually happened for him to arrive at Napoli. I'm not discrediting his talent. I'm actually trying to look at the word of Flores here now. Now, he moved to Italy, where he kissed the star with Napoli. that first season, right? Now, am I saying Osimhen is not a top talent? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, truly, he's not giving consistently 3 years at the top as a top striker. He might have done it. The next season in Napoli, it was difficult for everybody. They didn't win the league. They struggled as a team, basically. Now he moves to Turkey. He has done it again in a lesser space or a lower space. Jerry, it might sound funny, but it is the truth. Before Haaland moved to Man City, we've seen what he did in Germany consistently at that level, even before he moved to Dortmund. Right. So, Osimhen, now, this guy...
For which club?
From Salzburg.
Okay.
Red Bull Salzburg.
Salzburg?
Yes.
Salzburg is a small club.
They of course, you're talking about European football. They are more regular in Europe than Lille, as at when Haaland was there.
Okay.
So, right.
Well, regular, I don't think so.
As at when Haaland was there, no. They were more regular in Europe.
I think Lille was still a better place in terms of ranking to Red Bull Salzburg, as at even when Haaland was still at Salzburg.
No. People saw Haaland. Dortmund saw Haaland in European competition. The way he actually, dealt with teams, the number of goals he pulled out. That's why actually Dortmund.
Haaland was always a prospect, even from his days for playing from under 17.
Exactly what I was saying. That as at that time he was at Salzburg, people were looking at him. He's a rising talent. He moved to Germany for more than 2 seasons. He did it consistently there.
The peculiarities with the fact that. If you take a look at Borussia Dortmund is a bigger place club in Europe than Napoli.
I mean,
whether they like it or not.
True.
So he was in a better platform.
See,
and he was in a club side that was always close to Bayern Munich until recently Bayern Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso took that space.
You know what? You know why I'm bringing this conversation on Haaland. Okay. Yeah. He didn't move to Dortmund with the money Dortmund signed him for. It's not as big as what Osimhen was bought for, right?
Yeah.
In Napoli. Now he did that consistently in Germany. We saw his numbers in Germany, even in Europe, and then he moved to Man City. We saw what he's done in last 3 seasons. So yes, now Osimhen, in the case of this guy, saying, okay, you've only had one very good season at the top, and it is very true. It is not that his talent is being discredited here, but it's the fact that there's no other way you can actually say it's a lie. Osimhen has not had, if he had 2 good seasons in Napoli, just 2 good seasons, because the second season was not a good season.
Whose fault was it?
Well, call it anybody's fault. The truth is, it was not a good season all around for him, for Napoli, for everyone. We've seen a player, even Haaland, why wasn't it?
Okay, let's look at Erling Haaland last season. Man City flopped last season. Erling Haaland also flopped last season.
No, that's
so
not.
So, can we now say that Haaland is not a great talent? Because
no, he did it two seasons in a row in England upon his arrival. The 3rd season, everybody saw how he struggled.
Was still on form.
No, he struggled as a player because of injuries.
Man City, okay, now
yes.
Osimhen struggled the 2nd season because of injuries.
He left.
Well. No, the 2nd season you're talking about, that he didn't have 2 good seasons.
That's what I'm saying now.
The 2nd season he was still there. Was the 3rd season that he now left?
Jerry, you're giving credence to what I'm saying. No, he's not had 2 good seasons at the top. Simple.
Because of injury in the 2nd season.
You call it because of injury or whatever.
Okay, so, but you can.
I'm not saying he cannot do it.
Without. Okay,
I'm not saying he cannot do it.
If Erling Haaland was injured. No, because now, for instance, I think we want to have a position where we say he is not a great footballer.
No, that's not the position.
That's the contest here. If it's not for the injuries, Osimhen would have still given his best.
No,
in that same season. Okay, Mario, I don't know. I think maybe we should also take your own view on this. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is this: for the fact that Flores decided to call Osimhen mediocre does not make any sense. Let's go through the profile of somebody calling somebody a mediocre. He played for 14 clubs in 20 years. He played for 14 clubs, 14 different clubs in 20 years. And you're coming out to call somebody who has won the title. Napoli has not won the title in 30 years. Osimhen came up, light up the Serie A, won the Italian Serie A for 14 clubs I don't think it's right. It's just, I mean, for a lack of better word, there's a South African language. It should forsake, meaning it should get out. I mean, why would you call Osimhen a mediocre? He has he's a one season person, and just so that it doesn't make any logical sense. Osimhen would have stayed in Napoli for the third season, if not because of Antonio Conte. And he left. He went to Turkey. He won something reasonable in Turkey. He went there, scored a whole lot of goals.
Galatasaray has already played in Europe.
They've always been the biggest. Bottom line is this.
Galatasaray has always been the biggest brand.
No, they're still Fenerbahce.
No, Galatasaray has always been the biggest brand in.
No, they're still Fenerbahce.
They've always been the biggest brand in Turkish football.
They're still Fenerbahce in Turkey. Yeah. I think we have to also respect that Fenerbahce is also there. Mario, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is this. The bottom line is this. Anything Flores is saying, I won't take it seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
For the fact that he called Osimhen a mediocre, somebody that was not able to win anything in 20 years that he has played. He only has had appearance for Italian under 21. He's coming out to call a proven striker with 2 titles in different countries a mediocre. It does not make any sense. Because Osimhen has found himself in a really terrible situation. Talking football is not somebody anybody should listen to. Why would you call Simmon a mediocre? Somebody who played by a mediocre. It doesn't make any logical sense, and that's just it.
Anyway, even the footballer that is even talking, I don't even know what he has achieved in his football career because he's not an authority. He's not somebody that should be taken seriously.
True.
And I don't even know him until today. When the story bobbed up, I don't even know there's a certain player that is called Flores. I think he's trying to use Osimhen as an opportunity
to climb.
Yeah,
to climb line.
To gain the spotlight. I think enjoy your 5-minute spotlight. Thank you very much. Osimhen is a great player.
Jerry, the thing is this, right? My position in this matter is mediocre might be a stretch. I think it's a harsh word to use on a player like Osimhen because
definition of mediocrity is totally out of it.
That's what I'm saying. It's harsh for a player that's won the top scorer in a proven league, top 5 league in Europe. So he shouldn't have used that word. But I'm coming to the first version, the first stanza of the word I said, a one-season striker. Now, this is it, right? You see, when you look at strikers, top strikers across Europe, right? And you look at their history at that level. Osimhen has only had 1 good season in a top flight league in Europe.
See, I think that's not the submission I even want to accept. Which top flight league? His French league is not the top league.
Right.
How?
Wait, his French league not the top league again? I don't understand.
No. Okay, what did he do in France?
He had a fantastic.
What did he do in France?
He had fantastic.
Didn't win the Golden Boot.
He was fantastic in France. That was
he had to win the Golden Boot to have a fantastic season. That's why Napoli paid such a amount of money to sign him.
That was the reason why. That was the reason why. Hold on. That was the reason why Napoli paid over 70.
They paid premium money to get Osimhen to Italy.
Okay, wait.
He was fantastic in France. He didn't win the league. He didn't win the league. He came to Italy, gave them a title after 30 years.
Okay.
Second season, he had injury concerns and understood that.
Okay.
Third season, he would have stayed. Antonio Conte came, said he doesn't want him. He went to Galatasaray. Did very well for Galatasaray.
Let me.
Between Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. You cannot write off Osimhen.
I'm not writing him off. I'm saying
I agree with Flores.
Wait, let me ask you.
Only 1 good season in top flight. Come on.
Napoli paid big money to bring in Osimhen from Lille, right? And
true.
And before Osimhen moved from Lille, and before Haaland moved from Salzburg to Bayern Munich, Dortmund, right?
Dortmund.
Before he moved from Salzburg to Dortmund. If you look at their numbers, who was doing better?
Okay, so let me give you
because Dortmund is in a bigger space in terms of ranking compared to Napoli in Serie A. If you look at the both clubs, right?
Yeah. Haaland was doing well in Salzburg. However, in Dortmund, remember, Haaland was an injury-prone player in Dortmund. he never completed 4 months without getting injured.
So how many golden boot did he win at
look at it.
Dortmund?
How many times did Haaland win golden boot in the German Bundesliga? How many times did he win golden boot in German Bundesliga? Remember the particular point in time that Haaland got injured for a very long time with Dortmund. Almost every 7 market days, he's always injured. And that was even the concern when he was going to Man City because of the injury, because he's always getting injured all the time. And the whole of people felt him going to Man City, he will probably be getting injured and minority his potential. It was a concern when they wanted to sign him. So we cannot use
okay, so look
and to just
this is a player who has been successful right from his under 17 days. He won the golden boot at under 17 level. He won the under 17 World Cup.
Leave under 17.
Come on.
Leave under 17.
He rose from
Jerry, we've seen superstars. No, Jerry.
Go to Lille. He has fantastic time. And Napoli paid a lot of premium money.
Jerry, we've seen superstars under 17.
After players move to the Italian Serie A with such amount of money.
That's what I'm saying. That sometimes it's all about the agent and people who broker the deal. See, Jerry, we've seen players who moved for less amount of money and they're better player in terms of quality. So sometimes
I know it's not his fault anyway. I don't know the Flores. He has enjoyed his 5 minutes of fame. Let's allow him go now. Let his fame just end so that we can move on to.
I mean, if you play for 14 clubs in 20 years, why wouldn't you call somebody a mediocre? When you play for 14 clubs in 20 years.
A mediocre will understand what mediocre means. So he gets confused at times.
No, of course. Yes. I mean, calling Victor Osimhen mediocre is a stretch.
It's a stretch.
Yes.
It's an aberration. Yes. To call him a mediocre is an aberration. And of course, that is an absolute blasphemy in the world of football. And I think, anyway, I know Simmon, if he catches Flores in the tight corner, he will give you Lagos boy style. But it is what it is. Let's move away from that. Let's move to other update this time around as we take Imal Adebayo, the former Togolese striker, has reaffirmed his admiration for Nigerian football legend Kanu Nwankwo, describing him as his football idol and the god of football. Adebayo made this statement during an interview where he emphasized that no comparison should ever be made between himself and the former Super Eagles star. Adebayo fondly recalled his early days at Arsenal, where he inherited Kanu's number 25 jersey and locker room, a moment he described as deeply meaningful in his football career. Definitely, we all know that he did everything to follow the footsteps of the man they call King Kanu.
Yes, of course. I think I remember one of Adebayo's interview, when he first joined Arsenal. People were calling him Papilo Jr. And he has always wanted to be like him. I mean, their style is very much alike. Adebayo is also very sleek. I think it's one of the most intelligent player or one of the most intelligent forward after Nwankwo Kanu Africa has seen. He's very, very good.
I don't think Arsenal fans will agree.
No. It might be a terrible finisher. It might be.
Arsenal fans
no. Jerry.
He's an intelligent footballer.
Adebayo is a very intelligent footballer.
He is a good footballer.
He's a very intelligent footballer. The problem is he might not be a very good finisher. Nwankwo Kanu also does not have a lot of numbers to his name. But you cannot take away his intelligence as a player. He's very intelligent. I mean, for a player who, of course, he won the African Footballer of the Year, following the footsteps of Kanu Nwankwo. Of course, Kanu did 3 times, but he did once. Yeah, and of course, it tells you the quality of a player. And he's one of those players who started, who joined the Man City revolution when they started, bringing in a top talent.
Joined for money.
Yeah, of course, many of them joined, but the
fans got tired of him.
So, see, Adebayo is one player who, if you see him and you watch Nwankwo Kanu, you will not even have a doubt or second guess the idea of this guy is more like a replica of Nwankwo Kanu because of the way he moves and what he does on the field. So yes, I think it's actually very good for him to actually say these things, because at some point some persons were even drawing comparison. We know that yes, that comparison is crazy because Kanu is in the league of his own at the peak of his career, but then people always draw comparison when they see similarity. And yes, Imal Adebayo is obviously one of those players that I look back to, back in the days of when Arsenal used to have players who are, barely mature. And he's one of those guys who were actually pulling himself and Fabregas were more like the shining light of that particular team at that point in time.
Yeah, at the beginning, Arsenal fans were almost regretting getting him. I remember his early days at Arsenal was quite a woeful one until somehow he hit the ground running under the guidance of Arsene Wenger. Of course, he did everything to leave the Kano's legacy, but he did not leave on a good light, leaving Arsenal at the end. But definitely, he still fulfilled his dream of inheriting the number 25 jersey of Kano. Maiwa.
If it is not Kanu, it can never be Kanu. A replica of Kanu can never be Kanu. In any case, when Adebayo joined, he was actually imitating Kanu, doing everything the way Kanu does it. However, you already know, if it's not Kanu, it can never be Kanu, and that's the reason for that. But in any case, I mean, a whole lot of players, they make people their idol, and it's a good one that Adebayo is coming out to confirm that, Kanu was his idol. I mean, if you look at how the way he stepped into the number 25 jersey at Arsenal, the way he was moving, if you don't know Kanu Wako before, probably maybe you don't know the face of Kanu Wako, you might probably confuse Adebayo's movement with Kanu Wanko's movement. And, he had a fairly successful career, but in any case, it's a good one that is coming out many, many years after, to show how Kanu has impacted, his footballing career. So good luck to Adebayo. I mean, we hope that going forward, Arsenal will be able to produce players that will be able to make top stars, former stars, their idol.
All right, okay. He said a fairly good football career. I think he even played for top club sides in England. Even went as far as playing for Real Madrid.
Yes, he moved from
Mourinho's time on loan from Manchester City. He decided to run down his contract and make sure he earned that big bounty that he was paid by Manchester City. I think to the curiosity of the club side, who were not really happy. They wanted to push him out. He didn't want to go. He left. And at the point in time, he even played for Tottenham. Yes. He also went ahead to play for Crystal Palace at the end of the day. And he made lots of money, yes, I must tell you, lots of money before he eventually called it quits with football. Okay? And that's good for talking about Imal Adebayo. All right, let's talk about the French club Olympique Lyon have been demoted to League 2 because of the poor state of their finances, and the club were provisionally demoted by the DNGC, the body which oversees the accounts of French professional football clubs, in November. And Lyon officials, including owner John Tester, met with the DNGC on Tuesday but failed to convince the body that the club had sufficiently improved the financial situation to lift the punishment. And of course, it's a difficult situation for Olympique Lyon. Olympique Lyon, at a point in time, they were winning the French league like it was no man's business. I think they won 7 titles.
Yes, 7. Under the likes of Juninho at the point. Yeah.
At the point, they turned the French league to a joke because each season you just know that Lyon is going to win it.
That's the season they whip Madrid anytime they meet Madrid.
Yeah, that was the season Benzema was on fire.
Yes.
Yeah, before he made the move to Real Madrid. What happened to Lyon?
It's football, it's business. I mean, there's always a stage of maturity and then decline comes, if you don't actually manage your prospects well. And that's exactly what happened to them, Era comes and go, and new people definitely take over. Nature abhors vacuum. They fail to actually keep their project. The project was actually giving them success, and a lot of players at that point actually left. The likes of this French, I think he actually joined. He moved to Bayern Munich at that point. Toluso, these guys were part of the club of players that actually made that same tick at that point. But unfortunately, they couldn't actually keep up. And a better project sprang up in PSG, and they've been doing so well. They brought in the likes of Kylian Mbappe from Monaco, and then they've been the mainstay in the French League. It's football, and this allegation of them being demoted, it goes back to what we were talking about our league, where things like this will happen, and then the chairman of the club will just find a way to actually kill it, and then everything goes back to normal. Now, if incidents like this happen, in Europe, you see how they handle it. Yeah, we also remember in 2006 that the Italian Serie A winner Juventus were actually demoted alongside other teams, and of course AC Milan also got 8 point ban for the following season for the Calciopoli incident. So they take these measures, very serious when a club side or go against the law of the league. But then in this part of the world, when a club side does something, it's just business as usual, and that's exactly why they've been actually having progress. They've been making progress year in, year out, because now investors can actually look at the league and say, I can trust this league. If there's an infringement, I will always get justice. But here it's not the case. Whatever happens at the end of the day, it's going to be a win for French League One. These are the sort of things that develop the league, because if one of the big teams, if a team with big history as Lyon is going under the radar or under the hammer, it tells you that the league has, there's no blue blood in the league, and if there's no blue blood in a league like that, then definitely that league is only, it's just a matter of time. The league is prime for success.
All right, why is a difficult situation to find themselves? It means that some of their players will have to leave, and of course, we all know that they also have some interesting players. I think Gift Orban is still signed on to Lyon, and he has been loaned out, meaning that he might be looking for a new club side. What a difficult situation Lyon has found themselves.
It's a very difficult situation. The decline did not start now. This was a Lyon that won the league straight 8 times, I think from 2000 to 2008 or 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And they've not been able to manage their finances very well. With the implementation of the FFP, different people call it different name. You have to balance your books. Their book has not been balanced for a very long time. This should have happened to them last season. I didn't know how they wriggled out of it last season before the season concluded, and now they've checked their book, and the book is not balanced, and that's the reason why they are being demoted. The laws are very clear. If you cannot balance your book, if you cannot balance your book properly in terms of in terms of your finances, then there is no point in you competing in the top echelon of the league, and that's what has happened to them. The decay did not start now. It took about 6-7 years before they got to this particular point in time, and it goes a whole lot to talk about how the poor management that has taken over, very poor. They've not been frugal in terms of their success. They decided to let it go. There was a particular point in time where Lyon they just buy a few stars, and most of the players are players that come from the academy to feed the team. That has practically died off in Lyon, and that's the reason why new owners, and I'm even hearing that they might be forced, the quite sad one, not seeing Lyon in the League One next season.
All right, and of course, last October, talking about the owner of the club side, actually said his Eagle Football Group, which owns a 77% stake in Lyon, announced debts of £422 million. In the statement, Lyon said the DNGC's decision was incomprehensible and confirmed they would appeal. And Lyon's relegation could prove significant to Crystal Palace's hopes of playing in the Europa League next season. And of course, their participation is currently in doubt because of UEFA rules, which prevents multiple teams under one multi-club ownership structure competing in the same European competition. Testor owns stakes in both clubs, although he agreed the deal to sell his 43% share in Palace on Monday. Quite a difficult situation Crystal Palace found himself. I think it looks like one man's meat is another man's poison.
It's a good, yeah, I mean, it's life, it's business. But I mean, with this new development, if it happens, then of course, the man might not even get to sell his stakes in Crystal Palace again because I mean, the reason he's supposed to do that has been taken care of in Lyon, right? So I think it's going to be better for him if it happens that Lyon is guilty and then they just go back to second season, get demoted rather, and then Crystal Palace just take the.
The Premier League is also
spot.
considering saying that once you're owing £500 million in debt to your owners, you might also be relegated. So it might be also coming to the English Premier League. So they might be chasing him everywhere, everywhere you go. Anyway, time really fast spent by. Well, we have to wrap it up. Big thanks for being awesome on the show this lovely afternoon.
It's always amazing to be here, and I hope Eduke and Sevilla they resolve their issue amicably.
Right.
Thank you.
You can also recommend him for Manchester United because since he's going to be available, you can still recommend him. Nothing spoiled. Okay, Ikechukwu, thanks for being a part of the show as well.
It's good to be here, Jerry.
All right, and of course, I think you get the joke. Anyway, it is what it is. All right, big thanks to the guys behind the scenes. Talking about the likes of Alex, not living out Victor, as well as Jeremiah and Ikechukwu. My name is Jerry Alpelio saying thanks for being a part of the show. Up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. Until then, stay safe, and if not anything at all, do it a sport.